online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans, producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
Welcome back to another week of Dancing with the Stars here on AFTERBUZZ TV. I'm Kristyn Burtt. This was a very, very quiet week of Dancing with the Stars. Nothing happened. We're done. Oh my gosh, you guys, we have such a huge show and so much to talk about on both sides of the fence. So I'm hoping all the fans, whether you're here or voting for someone else, yeah. Oh, we got someone here. Let me talk about our hosts first. Across the table, Suri Serano.
That's me, and the hottie behind me. I can't wait. We can't wait. We can't wait.
And next to her, Darvina Plante.
Hey, guys.
Hey, all right. I'm glad you guys are joining us because we also, joining us via Skype, Val Chmerkovskiy. Hello.
Hi.
Well, thanks for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you. I'm just glad that I was able to make it work.
Absolutely. And for those of you that don't know, I think a lot of people thought that, this was just a fly-by-night kind of thing. We've been working, Suri, you've been working on this for weeks to make this happen.
Not only weeks, we've been wanting Val for 6 seasons.
Thank you for...
Hats off to Suri because she's been resilient about it. Resilient.
She's persistent. Well, congratulations on making the finals. This has been a really hot day when it comes to Dancing with the Stars fans, so we've got a lot to ask you about, but I kind of just want to, I kind of want to hear the overview of what your season has been like with Rumor.
It's been great. All the cliches, I feel like she allowed me to kind of showcase a different side of me. And I don't know, what's funny is like the first time I met her, I just noticed this sense of gratitude in just the way she spoke to me and the way, how enthusiastic she was to do the show. And that immediately kind of gives you a sense of purpose, when it comes to doing this for the 8th time.
And there's Skype, so he froze up. He'll be back in a moment. And I think he was talking about Rumor. I think that's probably one of the nice things about her is that she comes from Hollywood kind of legacy in terms of Demi and Bruce, and you don't know what to expect when it comes to Hollywood kids because we've seen it on all sides of the fence.
So true.
No, and not to take things in this direction, but I know Demi at least has deep into spirituality, and so has raised them with a solid foundation in that regard.
Yeah, so I think that's been kind of nice. Let's just get started, and hopefully Val will come back and join us. I know Skype is always hard sometimes, but let's go into that opening number and that bowling number done by Mandy Moore, which I think was so unique and something we have not seen yet on the show.
Yeah, it was really fun, and I thought of you because I know you love your big opening numbers.
Big. Right? Give it to me big. This was big.
The color was something I'm not used to seeing either. I don't know. Was it surprising for you guys? It was for me. It was great.
I liked it. It was something different for sure. I loved the fact that Mark made the strike.
Yes.
Because he was actually saying that he had not made it once. And everyone was a little bit worried. And then I guess one of the stagehands said that the pins weren't in the right position for him to get a strike. So moved them last minute and managed to get the strike. Oh, look there he is.
He's back.
Hi.
Welcome back. So you were talking about Rumor. Tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, it's she kind of motivated me to bring out different sides of her, and I have to be honest, like I shared the same. I was also guilty of preconceived notions about who she was based on her image and based on the press that I kind of read about her before we met. I mean, right after we met, and the truth is that all those judgments kind of went out the window the second we had literally a 5-minute conversation, and immediately I was so ecstatic about the opportunity to do the same and showcase that same magic that she showed me to the rest of the world. And immediately I was, motivated and inspired. And I think, it's really important for all the pros. You never know who you're going to get. And when you get that person, it's really important that they drive you to be your best. It's a grueling process. And when you have somebody that's worth all the hours and all the stresses and headaches and all the hard work that comes prepping each dance and going through this journey, I think it's important to have a partner that encourages you to do so.
Yeah, she seems like a really sensitive young woman, which I absolutely love that about her. I can hear you. Can you hear me? Yeah. And I think one thing I mentioned on Twitter the other night when I was watching the show, she really can inhabit any character. She's a great actress too.
Yeah, she's a great actress. Man, she's a great performer. But I think what makes a great actress is putting an honest truth behind each character, and she is able to embrace each different character. But I think it's authentic because it's honest and it's organic, and it's she puts a little bit of herself in everything she does, and so I think that's why it resonates, that type of energy that it does.
Well, let's talk about your Viennese waltz on Monday night. Very hot, 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, Val.
Yeah, talk about that concept and how you came up with it.
Well, I mean, clearly I drew from the inspiration from the movie a little bit.
Did you just buy the DVD that's out now?
Man, can I say that I wasn't a huge fan of the movie?
But you were.
Not because. I never read the book. I read, I think, like one paragraph out of the book, and then I realized that I think this is exclusively for women to enjoy, and I'm going to kind of leave myself out of that. But the point is that the song is beautiful. Movie aside, I love the song. When I heard it, I fell in love with it. I think it's has beautiful words in it, and it kind of captures a beautiful dynamic between a man and a woman. And I just wanted to perform to the song. The 50 Shades of Grey was kind of a little bit of a bonus, I guess. But I don't know if I would have done it any other season, just because it kind of plays into this image that I guess a lot of people set for me, and I guess I'm also partially to blame for that, because I kind of played into a lot of those things. But this season I think it's very different for me, and I was able to showcase a little bit of a different side, not just kind of the not cliche, but not the for a better word, like that stereotypical Eastern European kind of macho man, and that allowed me to have a little bit more versatility this season and show a softer side, and I always, I guess, shied away from that. I was too cool for school for many seasons, and I'm glad that whether, I mean, I have to give credit to Rumor. I guess she allowed me to find the comfort place, to open up and be more vulnerable, I guess, this season. So, I can't be a hypocrite. She's taken such a huge risk going out to the show, having, such famous parents and so much, so much kind of, I think it's like an overspoken about conversation, but she does deal with a lot of negativity, press wise and social media wise. So putting yourself out there was really courageous of her, and so I kind of felt a bit contradictory to kind of inspire her to face those fears and at the same time not do them myself. So thanks.
Hey, Keo. You never know who's going to show up. Hello.
Hey.
Thanks. And so that kind of encouraged me to open up myself, and I did. So I'm glad. And so the 50 Shades of Grey Viennese Waltz I think was kind of exciting and brought me back to that macho man kind of persona, which I enjoyed.
Well, that's great. And I mean, the scores reflected that as well. When you do get two bookends of 10s and then two 9s, do you, as a pro, focus in on those nines, thinking, I wish I had gotten a perfect score, or were you totally happy with that?
I was happy, man. I honestly, for better or worse, I'm focused on the dance. I focus on the details of the dance and the performance. And if I'm happy with the performance, I honestly, the scores are kind of secondary, and vice versa. If I'm not happy with the performance, but the scores are incredible and the judges' comments are incredible, I kind of question them a little bit. And I'm much rather be underscored than overscored, to be honest. And I was happy. I thought the scores kind of, reflected our dance. I don't think the dance was to the best of our ability. I think we it was a bit overwhelming of a week, and I think that the Swan Lake dance kind of took a lot of time to prepare, and with Bruno coming in, a lot of producing and a lot of camera time, and so I think I mismanaged that week a little bit in terms of how much time sorry, how much time. I'm just doing it. I'm in McCann, if you haven't noticed.
Yeah, we figured.
But, yeah, I think I mismanaged how much time we allocated for the Viennese waltz a little bit, and and it showed. But she was able to really grasp the character, and I was happy with that aspect of performance. I just thought that it could have been cleaner and better executed, but I love the scores, and it's all good.
Well, you mentioned the judge's choice in working with Bruno. Now, I had heard you asked for Julianne. Is that true? I mean, I asked for, it's not like I asked for anything. I thought Julianne would have been great for Rumor, simply on the female things. I'm always looking for help in terms of, if there's a woman's perspective on things, as much as I know about about ballroom dancing and the females, the movement that a female is supposed to have, it's not the same as, having someone as great as Julianne coming in and sharing little tips and bits like that, So I would have, I was looking forward to Julianne, but to be honest, I mean, I'm not biased. I think all the judges are great, and to be honest, man, Bruno really surprised me. He, threw us out there on the Swan Lake mission, and I would have never chosen that for myself. I would have never even attempted a concept like that, and so, I'm happy that, my brother always talks about, creating a scenario where it's a sink or swim situation, and that really brings out the best out of people when they're kind of, borderline desperate. And so, Bruno really did that for us. He put us into a very uncomfortable zone, and I like I said, I'm not a necessarily a control freak, but I freak out about not having control. And so, the Swan Lake was kind of outside of my comfort zone and outside of my realm, and but this season, like I said, it's a first for many things for me, and when I heard it, I initially got this feeling in my stomach, like I do every single week, like what am I gonna do? But immediately my perspective changed to, listen, this is a huge challenge, which means it's a great opportunity for something beautiful. So I kind of went with it, and like I said on the show, his enthusiasm that he brought to the room, I mean, like it's a bit too much sometimes, but it's exactly what I need personally. I tend to get a little bit too much in my head, overanalyze things, obsess about details that not necessarily matter too much. And his kind of like this, this broad, exuberant energy definitely loosened the room up and allowed us to have a lot more fun with it. Yeah, because I can imagine Bruno comes in the room and he's like, we have swans and ballet, and you have white tights.
Yes! White tights! Wow. White tights! Yes, please!
You pulled him off.
It, but I feel like being Eastern European, I think people have this this idea, this thought that I'm ballet trained and I, automatically take on to ballet stuff. But I'm a kid that started ballroom dancing as more of an athletic thing. I was an athlete growing up. I think that kind of translates into how I approach things on the show. I think if you've been watching the show and observing me, I have a very intense kind of focused attitude about things. And my artistic side really came from my violin playing. I guess that element was more of the artist in me. The dancing was more of, my energy and excitement for physicality and for movement. And ultimately, I mean, you guys are experts in ballroom dancing now. There's a huge world of competitive ballroom dancing from which I come from. I don't come from a theater background. I don't come from even a creative artsy background. I went to a liberal arts school, a very small school. I think that kind of began my,
We're kind of losing you here, Val.
My school was on the side of the Hoboken Public Library. Can you hear me?
We can sort of hear you. You're breaking up a bit. You're frozen right now.
Hello?
There's a delay. There's a for sure
you're-
delay.
If you're still with us.
Hello.
Hi.
There you go.
Hi.
Sorry. Can you hear me? You good now? Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we good?
Yes.
Thumbs up. You can't see us, but
There's
yes.
like a 2-second delay.
So I guess like I said, my group of friends was a half Korean, half Irish kid, an Israeli, black kid from Newark, New Jersey, with very, very humble beginnings, and a Puerto Rican kid from Hoboken, and we came from very different backgrounds.
And then he froze.
I wonder if it's the McCadden
It
connection.
might be the McCadden connection. All right, we'll get back to him in just a moment. But it is interesting just to hear like how he's approaching things differently in terms of working with Rumor, and how every partner is different, and it makes you approach the season very differently too.
Absolutely.
I just did a regular call instead of video call, so hopefully
Okay.
that works better.
Okay, fantastic.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We are going to see if we can just get him in on a regular call versus Skype, and continue on with Val in just a moment. Do we have him? I think.
Yep.
Okay, great.
Oh, perfect.
Hi, we can hear you. This is great.
I'm so sorry, man. This is hard. I apologize.
It's okay. It's all
No
good.
worries. This is good. This is really nice and clear. So, we had this was probably the best semifinal we've seen in so many seasons, and a nerve-wracking night last night. How were you guys feeling when you were in Jeopardy?
You know what? It feels numb, man. It feels numb. I wouldn't say that it's the most stressful. Listen, when you're in the bottom two, and it was between Nastia and Rumor, I think that was a very stressful environment, moment. But otherwise, I just feel like all the work, all the things that go into preparing for a night like Monday night, that's where all the drama happens. I think the results, you kind of stand in there, and if you gave it your all, you kind of you're willing to live with the results, and ultimately it's out of my hands. I stress so much about things that are in my control that I try to leave space for things that are out of my control and not stress so much about it. But it just, I don't know, it was nerve-wracking, but at the same time I was kind of,
You felt like you left it all out there on the dance
cool
floor.
with I just had no choice. It's kind of like you're in front of the firing squad, and you really, there's not much left that you can do. It is what it is. So I was just glad that we got through.
Okay, and so I would be remiss if I don't ask this question, and would be interested to hear your answer to it, because my Twitter feed has exploded on
All of ours.
All of ours
Right.
has, and in one of the packages last night, they asked you about Nastia's strengths, and then what you thought maybe her weakness was, and the word was uninteresting. I'm sure you've heard the blowback from all of this. So, what is it? What's your explanation on all of this? And just for people that are Nastia and Derek fans, I know a lot of them are upset.
Yeah, without sounding too harsh or too much of a cynic, the reality is that it doesn't matter what I'm going to say right now. They're still not going to like me. It doesn't matter if I tell them that, literally 30 seconds after that was shown, 5 seconds after that was shown, I apologized to Derek and Nastia, and we spoke about it, and Derek shot the same package that I did, and they got all the pros in a room, and they were like, okay, so you have to say something positive and something negative about each remaining celebrity, and I was like, okay, well, I'm not really sure how to do this, but okay. And then, they went down the line of each person, and I had really nothing negative to say. So, the reality was that everybody said something. I guess should have been a little bit more politically correct, but I don't necessarily think I have anything to apologize for. I do apologize in terms of the way it sounded. The reality is that what kind of criticism is you're too perfect? Obviously that's kind of nonsensical, but that's more of the place where I was coming from. It was more of me having a frank conversation with the producer and telling him that, look, she's pretty flawless, and obviously Derek is very meticulous about the cleanliness of each routine, and he does a great job prepping his celebs and all his partners, and there's nothing really negative that I could say about that couple. So I guess that's that. She's pretty flawless, and I guess to some it might feel a little uninteresting. I mean, but that's the only criticism that I could really find. Again, when it's isolated in that way, and I guess the other pros kind of felt a little bit, I don't know what the other pros said or didn't say, but it kind of felt very PC from everybody and very supportive, and to kind of end that package on that note, obviously isolated my opinion. But even the way you posed that question, my opinion about Nastia was that it was uninteresting when there was 2 sentences said before that, which was she's perfect and she's flawless and they do an amazing job, which I guess to some might seem uninteresting, So when you take that word out of its, I guess, context, but not even context, it's, I guess it is my fault in terms of how I said it, and a lot of times I say things that aren't necessarily the right thing to say, but I say it from a place where I know how I feel about Derek and the type of respect and admiration that I have for the work that he's done. And the funny thing about this is that there's always these two sides, the majority of the fan base of Dancing with the Stars, especially the diehard fans, they're split between, the Derek Huff and the Mark Ballas Mafia and the Chmerskovskiy, the Volani Mafia, and then there's, and people get kind of stuck in between, including myself. I joined the show, and the way they kind of presented me was this young, kind of overzealous little guy that's coming on the show. And one of the things I remember they had me say was, it took my brother 13 seasons to get the trophy. It's time for me to come in and redeem the family name. In that instant, I was completely isolated by his fans, who were like, who's this little chump thinking that he's going to come on the show and overshadow his older brother. And immediately, the Huff Ballas Mafia kind of disowned me as this, as another arrogant Chmerskovskiy brother. And the reason is that I love my brother more than this show and anything I will do for the rest of my life, except for maybe get married and have my kids. But and in terms of my respect and my friendship and the love that I have for both Mark Ballas and Derek, that's something that they don't want to have any part of. It's, you know, if I put up a picture of me, you know, in support of Derek, they'll look at it as a PR stunt. If I say something critical, they'll look at it as a direct bash at them. You know, I know my friend Serge was on the show a couple of weeks ago, and you know, the truth is, look, we have our loyalty and we have our love for family, but the reality is that when it comes to professional manners, we try to be as professional with our opinions as possible. And even though, you know, sometimes it's in favor of myself, for instance, and sometimes it's not in favor of myself. But you know, I think, like I said, we're put in a certain spotlight and a certain kind of, you know, like I really, look, I have no choice but to say screw it and do my thing, because I'm tired of trying to, you know, appeal to fans. You know, the reality. You can't
please everyone, Val.
You know, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. I was just gonna say, you can't please everyone, and we even know this on our show. So you should go out there and do the work that you need to do.
The reality is that in the bigger picture, we're all friends, and some of us are better friends than others. But ultimately, it would be, you know, to take away the credit of somebody that worked as hard as Derek did or does, and Mark does, or my brother does or did, and myself. You know, we're all in it. We kind of have this tie, you know. I mean, again, this is a repeated story, but, you know, Mark, Derek, myself, Tony, we've known each other. Julianne, we've known each other since we were 11 years old. And we've competed against each other for years, which kind of, you know, automatically puts this kind of layer of, okay, they're competitors. But ultimately, once the competition's over, we're friends, man. Me and Derek get pedicures after every season. Every season, you know, if we both make the finals, you know, they put us in the same hotel, and it's so funny because whatever the result is, we somehow, you know, a couple of seasons ago, I think after my Kelly Monaco season, we were sitting there and we were both exhausted and malnourished, and how I say, you know, there's so much that goes into the season that you don't have a second to sit back and breathe. And we both were just sitting there, and we were sitting there literally for 2 hours, and ever since then we kind of made it our thing that we sit together, we kind of reflect on the season. But look, we're not best friends, and I'm not gonna lie about that. We're not best friends, but we are
pedicure buddies.
There you go.
Have such mutual respect for one another that fans need to realize that, you know, just stop reading into things so much. You know, it's not that serious. It's not that serious.
I know, it's glitter and sequins and a Mirabelle trophy, and you guys are all competitive, but, you know, at the end of the day, it's important.
And as we all know, and you know from being on the show, everything's produced. I mean, look at Nastia's package last week. It was a few seconds of her whole week, and the girl is a sweetheart, you know, so...
Yeah, and we'll talk about that more when we talk about that, because, you know, one thing before we let you go, I do want to ask, preparing for the finale, what can you tease us when it comes to the freestyle? How are you preparing, Rumor, not only physically, but also mentally?
Oh, man, I think ironically, Rumor's preparing me more mentally than I'm preparing her. You know, I have such a stigma about my freestyles. I've never been able to approach them mentally in the right frame of mind. You know, I've always put so much pressure on myself to deliver something that is this grand thing, and every time I show up and it's so outside of my comfort zone and so not who my couple is, that, you know, over analysis and a bit of, you know, I guess stress and excitement takes out all the magic out of the, I guess, a sense of spontaneity and a sense of, you know, an organic choreography that feels right. Because when it feels right, it looks right and it looks powerful. And when it feels right, you're able to layer it with emotion that's honest and beautiful and powerful. It's not about the steps. It's about what you put into those steps. And I was never able to create choreography that really allowed my partners to put themselves in depth. I think I exhausted them with the pressure of the last week and trying to outdo myself and outdo each other in terms of what we produced this season. But the reality is that we've done the work. It's been 9 weeks of building up to this. Now we need to just come out and create something that feels natural, feels authentic, feels good, and feels right. And I think if it feels good to us, then it's going to look good to the audience, and people will connect to it. And the reality is, and the reality is that, and it kind of refers to the previous conversation that we had. It's cruel that there's a first place and a second place and a third place. There's people getting eliminated, and look, and for some it may seem like they lost something, and there's only one winner. But the reality is that it's all relative. You cannot compare Noah and the power that he exudes on the dance floor to Nastia. You can't compare the beauty that Nastia is able to create to the emotional beauty that, let's say, Rumor can create. You can't really compare Riker's energy and enthusiasm and explosiveness on the dance floor to Robert's, right? But neither one of those people were bad to look at or uninteresting or non-exciting or it was everybody brings something to the table, and they should be celebrated individually. So when it comes to us, I'm not trying to outdo Noah or outdo Riker. I'm sure there will be awesome performances. I just want to make sure that what we do feels right to us, and and I'll live with whatever result comes out of it.
Very well said.
Awesome.
Val, we really appreciate you coming on. I know it's been kind of a heated day. We've all felt it on social media. But we want to wish you the best next week in the finale.
Good luck, Val.
Kristyn, thank you. I just wanted to say, first of all, this has been seasons in the making, and you guys do a great job, supporting the show. And I think you guys really cater to a lot of our fans, and it's a beautiful thing. But like I said to the fans and to you, it's really not that serious. Anybody that knows me knows how much love I have, and forget love, love, respect. My respect to my competition and to the people that I work with exceeds any sort of social media drama that can come out of produced packages. I got love and respect for the people I work with, for the people that I see every day, for the people that don't make television screens, the producers, the handyman, the people that carry sets. I'm very proud of the people I work with, and I have nothing but love and respect for all of them. So there it is.
Thank you so much for taking time. We know that about you. I think the people that have ever met you, they know that about you. We really appreciate you coming on. Thanks, Val.
Thank you.
Cheers, Val.
Thank you. Sorry about the Skype thing.
No worries. We'll get you in the studio next time. We'll pick you up and drive you here. All right. So, the one thing I do want to kind of just note, produced. We talk about highly produced. The week that Shirley and Corky were here,
reality show.
Yeah, I mean, we went over and over this, and I think a lot of people have been victims of this. That Nastia package to be shown this week again. I was
just
like,
think that was over the top.
No.
By the way, I mean, I know a lot of people have already read Derek's blog that was already put out and a few interviews. I mean, he kind of knew based on that showing that few seconds last week that they were setting up for them
their exit,
right? And he was a little bit shocked by that, and then he knew Monday night that it was the way that the night was going energetically and kind of just everything. And when you've been around in the show, you kind of know what's up.
Yeah, and he said I prepped Nastia for that he goes, I think this is the week. She kind of was putting out tweets like no matter what happens, she could even feel it herself, or Derek had prepped her very well. His blog is really interesting to read this week, tvguide.com. It gives you some good insight and a very mature approach to something to me as a viewer, I was frustrated because I had such a beautiful night watching Monday, and then to realize, like, why aren't we getting a top 4 finale? I mean, I know,
especially with this level of competition this season.
We
agree.
lost out as viewers, like, completely.
Totally agree, and I felt that way, of course, when Mark and Willow were put off.
We could have had a top 5 finale with them.
Really, truly, this season, the level is so high.
And with the double elimination the week before as well, it seemed like, I was like,
this is what I'm thinking. Like, why did we do the double elimination? Because I'm like, we could have just, like, maybe carried someone like Robert into this week. You let him go, and then you have the top 4, and you have amazing, beautiful dancing on all different levels. And all 4 of these top 4 semifinalists brought something so different to that ballroom floor.
They all deserve to be there next week, 100%.
And I think that's where I was most frustrated in. Instead of getting into who, what, why, because they all deserve to be there, and they all danced beautifully. And Monday night was so special. You were there.
Yeah,
I mean, what a lucky thing for you to witness.
Totally. I felt so privileged to be there, just to watch everything from start to finish, and the energy in that room was just electric. It was so exciting, and it really didn't disappoint. I can't wait for next week. I was like, oh my gosh.
Which would be amazing. Well, let's get into some of the other dances. I know we kind of went over Val's number, and I think we can do an overview after of his numbers, but let's get into the second number of the night, which was Noah and Sharna. And I was like, Carrie and Anaba, that word's later in the show. There we go. But it was Noah and Sharna doing their Viennese waltz, which was kind of interesting because it's back to back. You have Rumor and Val doing their Viennese waltz right into Noah. But I'll tell you, he certainly didn't disappoint this week at all.
No, he didn't. I felt as though he's really relaxed into his performance. He was really enjoying it, and you could really tell that. And the choreography that Sharna used to get him down the stairs and up the stairs was just magical. When he walked up with the leg, that was just so creative, as opposed to choosing a camera angle that kind of distracted from that, so we just saw him at the top of the stairs. I really love that about it. And the spins as well, the posture. It's what he's doing.
He was radiant.
It's just magical to watch. He really is great.
I'm with her, 100%.
Yeah, and Darvina and I were talking before the show, and I said, no one can ever, I don't think anyone should discount Noah being in the finals. No, he earned that spot there because, first of all, he did excellent work this week, and he's more fit than I am, and so who am I to say, you shouldn't be in the finale? Absolutely.
Corky Ballas called it a few weeks ago when they were here. He said,
Corky was tweeting up a storm last night.
We love you, Corky.
Sorry, I was driving. I had to pull over into a Gelson's parking lot because I'm like, I'm going to get into an accident. I have Suri texting me, Corky tweeting me. It was nuts.
Oh our hands, everybody. I was like, this is so intense.
And my boyfriend, I know.
Everybody calm down.
My boyfriend called. He's like, where are you? I'm like, I'm in the Gelson's parking lot. This show is going on the East Coast, and I can't keep up. I just spit all over the studio, too. I got so excited.
So funny.
And great scores. The 9s that I felt like he should have had for that trio last week, they showed up. 9 for that.
Yeah.
36.
That was great. Well deserved.
That was awesome.
Man, I was so happy about that. Yep. Gosh, and I think we've all been waiting for this one. Allison choreographing a contemporary number for Riker.
I tweeted this. I'm sure you guys heard it. Anytime, and Riker's amazing, but I just got to say, anytime Allison dances her style, her forte, life stops for me. Literally stops. And Riker, wow. I mean, that choreo, I don't think I could do that choreo. Oh, and that was amazing. Amazing. Everything I expected.
Agree. It was just great. Oh my gosh, literally, and with the, whatever was it, chalk they may have used, to get those, it just looked great. And Allison is outstanding. I'm so glad that we got a chance to see her grow and see her talent and share it with us, and have a partner that she was able to do that with. Riker side by side. I mean, Julianne said she couldn't tell who was the pro. I mean, he was outstanding. I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but I thought he embodied the dance so much.
I think, Kristyn, you said yesterday to me when we were texting, that Allison has done such a phenomenal job of, equaling her energy to her partner, because Allison is such a strong, fierce dancer. She has to tone it down a little bit.
Yep.
A little bit. And she's done such a fantastic job.
She has. And one thing that has sort of resonated with me is that when Shirley was on here, she was saying that girl took lessons during hiatus. And for those of you that aren't familiar with Allison from So You Think You Can Dance, like moving to Dancing with the Stars, she's probably one of the hardest workers. Her husband, Steven, or Twitch, however you know him, but he, I think, like, he's such a supportive partner. They're always constantly working and creating. They're total ambassadors of dance, and I think like this really shows you what Allison's capable of in her style. But you know, we've seen tremendous leaps and strides in terms of what she's done all season with Riker.
Yep, absolutely.
And yeah, that was a perfect 40. I think we all expected that.
100%.
Yes.
I mean, what else was it going to be? I don't know. And then we move on to Nastia and Sasha doing the quick step. Of course, Derek still having some residual pain. A quick step's probably the last thing he wanted to do, which was smart. Very, very smart, just because he's got the tour coming up, too. Uh-huh. You got to be really careful with those injuries.
Man.
Really is the bionic man. To me, this was Nastia's night. I felt like the stories of the night for me, and Suri and I actually disagreed on this. We went back and forth via text. Trust me, we've been like, to me, Noah was one of the stories, of course, because of his improvement and the engagement. And
I do agree with you on that.
The engagement.
I agree with you.
And Nastia, to me, I just felt like, boom, she was like there, she had blossomed, she was comfortable. I mean, and we've been leading up to this, like, the walls coming down, the freedom in her dance, and it was there with Sasha, and I felt it was there with Derek too.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you that she really, we saw the gorgeousness of inner Nastia, or Anastasia, as we've never heard her called before in her life, which was beautiful that Derek brought that out. An impeccable night for her. Truly, that's what we've been everybody was waiting for all season, you know, and it was fantastic. I mean, she is flawless, really, technically, and what we saw from her last night, everything that we wanted. So,
how was that quick step in person?
It was great. I think one thing that I found difficult with their partnership, and I was a bit disappointed that it only came in the last week, we started to see more of Nastia as a person, you know, like when she spoke out a bit more and we kind of got more about the two of them. I felt like that was a shame, because if that package hadn't have been replayed 3 times and perhaps we'd have seen that a week before, perhaps she may have been in the final. Do you know what I mean? So I was a little disappointed in that, but the routine itself was just, I think we don't give her enough credit, and I definitely know I've been in that way as well, just because she is, you know, an Olympic champion and she's just amazing, but she really did a great job, and her technique was flawless, like from very early on in the competition.
Very clean, very crisp. That one-handed cartwheel they did together, she and Sasha.
Was great. Yeah. And she handled herself with such class too.
She's known for that.
She really did.
Always.
She's known for that. That's why it was like showing that package for a few seconds of her was just so.
And they showed it over and over. It was annoying.
Unkind.
I was like, "Are you kidding me?"
Because most of the world that has never followed gymnastics, or you know what I mean, they don't know. They don't know. They believe what they're seeing is like, oh.
And, you know, I think about a month ago I was at the airport and, you know, she was on my flight and everything else. And here I am talking to her. It was a red-eye flight. She was still in her hair and her makeup and everything else. And she's probably exhausted after, like, going back and forth in the week that she's had. And, you know, I had just interviewed her. And so she sat down and she talked with me for a few minutes and we took a photo and everything. And you know that she's like, I just can't wait to get on the plane and go to sleep. She's exhausted. I get it. And she's always kind to everyone that approaches her.
She is.
And I just think that I'm really bummed. I just, again, feel like we lost out on seeing something magical out on that dance floor next week.
We truly did. I've obviously, from day one of the season, was very excited for this pairing. And just her coming out of her shell, the best was about to be seen. Really, I mean, topped what they did Monday night. They were going to top that for sure in the finale.
Yeah, and I
know Derek said something about that. He even injured himself a little bit more preparing for next week.
What was it? I want to see it.
I know, right?
Can't they just bring him on and let's do it anyway?
Just do it anyway.
You know, this is the season to change it up.
And, you know, and a tribute to her, it was a difficult season with Derek's schedule and her traveling back and forth, and she's at NYU, which is, yay, my alma mater. But, you know, and the partners, and, you know, people argued with us, like, Henry's not rehearsing her, Sasha's not rehearsing her, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if she spent 1 hour with Henry or 1 hour camera blocking with Sasha. Anyone that's ever danced with a partner knows everyone feels different, everyone holds different. Her being able to adapt to that consistently she deserves credit, whether it was 2 minutes, 3 hours, 4 weeks. It doesn't matter.
So many celebs would not have been able to handle that and pull it off as
not at
well.
all.
Yeah, can you imagine Chris Soules, The Bachelor? I mean, he was someone that really needed Whitney there all of the time.
Right.
And if he had to be flip-flopping between, like, say, I don't know, Whitney and Lindsay, and then Sharna had to come in, that's hard.
It's a lot.
Yeah,
so
very.
hats off to her for all of that.
Definitely.
I want to get into the judges' choices because we don't have that much time left. But Noah, Sharna, Carrie Ann Inaba, Paso Doble, hello.
Wow.
Oh, I'm glad I'm
That
wearing red
Madonna
because-
concept. Go.
Yes, I had to. Carrie Ann Inaba, for those of you guys don't know, is a former Madonna dancer. When I saw the set and when I saw the horns and everything, I was like, that's Madonna! This is amazing! And that kind of performance, the whole thing, like, I was lit up from within. I mean, I wanted to be in it. It was... it was so intense and so beautiful and so well done, and I can't say anything else. I mean, it's amazing.
100% agree. It was so strong, and his face at the end, you know, when they held that, I was just like, yes, go on, boy. Like, I'm so proud of him, you know. I just feel so, I can relate, you know, just to the fact that he does everything. He tries so hard. He puts his heart on that floor, you know, and I feel emotional every time I watch him dance. I
His
really
face,
do.
like, I just, like, he's having a ball out there.
Yeah. It's
Sharna
awesome to
has
see.
just nurtured this so well, both creatively and I think a really nice connection, a very respectful connection.
Yeah.
You can also see, and this is always so important, you can see that Noah's now fiance is very comfortable around the partnership too,
Yeah,
which is
totally.
super important because, you know, there's chemistry and there's electricity going on that dance floor. And I credit that to what Sharna has really created with all of them.
Yeah.
So.
And she's no
Phenomenal.
nonsense too, you know, like she says it how it is and she gets the job done. And I think that worked really well with Noah's, you know, personality for sure.
I thought it was fantastic. Everything got a 30, by the way. We know the judges. Corky put it out there. He's like, no judge is going to give someone a 7 or a 9. Of course not.
It didn't need to be judged.
It didn't.
No.
This was a great concept, but we didn't need to judge it.
Yeah.
And then we get into Riker, Allison, and Julianne doing the Argentine tango. And I said, hey, Julianne, come on back for season 21.
Oh gosh, that's awesome. She's awesome. But really quick, Allison did not miss a beat with dropping that hat and swooped it right back
I know,
up without
right?
missing a
I was
count.
like,
I mean, that's a pro.
Right?
It was, how sexy was that number?
So sexy, so
Amazing.
well done.
It was such a treat to get to see Julianne dance again as well. It's you know, when she gets on that floor, I'm like, she's like no other. And the three of them together was just fire. It really was. It was so great. And I liked, it was an intimate concept. They didn't go too crazy, you know, loads of dancers or anything like that. It just kept it, you know, the three of them, and then Julianne left and it just went to the two of them. I thought it was great.
Yep.
I thought it was important that Julianne actually left and kind of gave Riker and Allison the moment too. So I thought choreographically that was really a smart move as well.
Yeah.
And just like kind of on that raised platform.
Yep.
Stunning.
it.
But Julianne, like, and with her hair slicked back like that, I was like, why isn't she doing Chicago on Broadway? Like, she could totally do Roxy Hart.
I know, she was
Here we
hilarious.
go.
She had
Here
a
she
dress
goes.
on and she was like stretching behind the judges'
She
table.
looked great. Yeah. I love
Looked
those behind the
amazing.
scenes like nuggets. Like, oh, I have to dance soon. Hold on.
And it was hilarious. Nice evening gown, little stretch. You know?
That's so great.
That's awesome. What else can we say?
And then we went into Nastia, Derek, and Len. And for me, this is really just a wonderful moment because no one is harder on Derek than Len. And I think Len understands how... I think how great Derek's talent is. He sees that talent. He, pushes his buttons a little bit more, and sometimes it's frustrating as a viewer because you're like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
But at the same time, I thought that was so wonderful having all three of them together doing the Viennese waltz.
I mean, how was it in studio?
It was so emotional. I didn't actually get to see, because at the beginning Len's flipping through, the album and whatnot. So until I watched it back, I wasn't able to get the full feeling of the dance. But when he came on at the end, it was just so sweet, adorable, and he's been part of the show from day dot. So to have him on the dance floor was just such a special moment to witness. It was great.
And how about Nastia? I mean, this was her emotional breakthrough number. I mean, she's been building the last few weeks, obviously, and broken through. But this was where you really could feel her, and it was the best number for them to go out on. It was
really nice
stunning.
connection with her and Derek. Like, you saw the electricity. And it's interesting because Sasha's been really good about posting on Instagram. And he would show some moments of like Derek talking to Nastia and sort of coaching her and things like that. And you kind of saw where that connection was. But for viewers that aren't on on Instagram or don't like follow Sasha or anything else, they missed all of that. And I sit there and think, we finally saw that on the dance floor, and it wasn't shown in the packages because they were too busy worrying about like someone's tired in a dance studio, which happens all the time. Or had a frustrating day, which I have all the time at work. So,
by the way, Derek said that Nastia was in his blog. I think he said that she's been the most affectionate partner that he's had, and always wanting to take care of them both and everything.
Yeah, so. Ice packs and water and keeping everyone hydrated, and you know, it's unfortunately that just wasn't shown. And again, that's where we go back to highly produced things are edited, things, you know, and they show what they want to show. They create storylines of where they want to create storylines.
Drive the show where they want to drive it.
Absolutely, and it's frustrating for all of us, and you know, and the way everything went down when Nastia was eliminated, it's super disappointing. I feel like, as I said, we're losing out. We're losing out. But to start attacking other pros about this.
Or couples.
Let's go back to this because, you know, there's 3 celebrities that are performing next week that are trying to do their best and trying to win a Mirrorball trophy.
And they're kicking butt. All of them are kicking butt.
They're all amazing.
They all should be there.
Yeah.
And I think regardless, it's going to be a great final.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm really excited to see. They're all so different too. We're going to get so many different, lovely, juicy bits from each couple. So I just
Juicy
can't
bits.
wait.
Juicy bits.
Hashtag juicy bits. I'll be in studio with you. I can't wait.
Yay. Yes, that'll be fantastic. So we'll just have to kind of see how it plays out on that dance floor because, you know, I can sit there and you can go, you know, Noah's kind of like the people's champion. He could easily win. You can go, we know Allison on her choreography is going to go nuts.
Riker's ridiculous.
Yeah, Riker's ridiculous. And we heard from Val what he's planning on doing, and he's really trying to keep focused, which Shirley had said he needs to keep focused on this. And it's kind of anyone's game.
It really is.
Makes it very exciting.
Yeah, it's not like last season we're all like, it's
we usually
awesome.
kind of have an idea, but who knows?
I have no idea. Tomorrow I'll be at anyone going to the panel at Paley Center? Dancing with the Stars?
You're going?
All right, I'm going.
I'm not
I'll live tweet that as much as I can and take photos.
Did we talk about the Swan?
We didn't talk about Val's number. We talked about it with Val, but we can talk about...
I just have to say this because we were disagreeing on this. Sorry, I'm calling Kristyn.
No, it's okay.
I just have to say that Swan number was literally one of my favorite numbers on the show ever. I wouldn't say, I don't know, top 3. It's top 10 probably. I don't know. I loved everything about it. I know we disagree on this. Obviously the white tights were phenomenal. But everything about it, I don't know. I get taken into the whole production as a whole, not necessarily specific dance parts, right? The number was awesome.
What did you saw that in studio, so...
I felt like it was the concept was a little bit overwhelming. You know, I think if anyone could have handled it, it was Val and Rumer, you know? But I feel like it was a little bit over the top, and obviously it was Bruno. So.
Yeah, and that's exactly it. This is Bruno! We're going to be swans and white tights and like this and black swan.
But I just think she's just such a class act, and her dancing is just so phenomenal that it wasn't really necessary, but the lift was phenomenal. And she didn't even do that much of a prep. I was shocked that she did that lift. I did not think that was coming at all.
By the way, she had 6 seconds to make it onto the floor because they put the black swan makeup on her. She didn't have any time because they're doing whipping clothes off and changing her and whatever, and she barely made it to stage for that. Val was like, "Are you okay?"
Wow.
And she was like, "No." He's like, "Well, you
just go and do it." But I think for the one thing for me, I felt like last week was Rumor's week. That was where she was like number 1 for me last week.
Yeah.
I felt like this week, Nastia was number 1 for me. And, you know, Tom Bergeron made this great point. He said all 4 of these couples at any given week could have won that Mirrorball trophy had it been the finale.
Yes.
I love that. And that's exactly kind of where I'm at in terms of like some weeks it's, you know, Riker for me and some weeks it's Noah and some weeks it's Rumor. And it's this week was all Nastia for me.
For me, it was Riker, I think.
There you go.
With the trio for sure.
Oh, it's fantastic. That was, but we didn't. there was not one bad number in
it
this.
was all like it was a phenomenal night.
Yeah, so the Black Swan thing is just the concept. But I think it was, like I said to you, I said it wasn't Rumor and it wasn't Val. It was like, Bruno!
Yeah.
It's just a lot.
Well, I love
really
this
well.
one, and I love the, again, the Noah's number. I mean, I loved all of the numbers, truly. I mean, who could not love all the numbers from Monday night?
Super special.
Yeah.
It was a great show.
All right, so we've got a lot happening in the next week and in studio and everything else. And I'm sure our Twitter feed has exploded or melted down. One of those things. But I think from all of us, like, just, you know what? Let's go out there and root these 3 finalists and be good to each other. I think that's really the important thing.
Really, truly. I mean, honestly, like, at the end of the day, maybe your favorite couple is already gone and it's produced and this and that, and we wish we wanted to see Nastia perform in the finale as well. But it is a reality show, and we cannot take anything away from those couples that are in the finale.
Absolutely not.
Nothing.
They're all deserving.
Yes.
Yep.
They have worked so hard to be there, and they all equally deserve it, in my opinion.
Yeah, and Willow, you deserve to be there too,
She
and
does
you
too.
went a couple weeks ago,
Yeah.
so there we go.
Yeah.
All right, you guys, it's time to wrap up. I know, I feel like we could be here for hours, and so much. It was just such a tense, crazy day. But Darvina, you will be back with us next week. So
I will be.
Where can everyone find you online?
Diva Darv on Instagram and Twitter.
And sorry.
Suri Serano on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Periscope.
And I'm at Kristyn Burtt on Twitter and the Kristyn Burtt on Facebook and Instagram. And you have a great, Darvina has a great interview with Kim Johnson, so check it out on her blog.
Yes, guys.
We'll see you all next week. Thanks.
Bye.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.